Welcome to the Diva Deets, the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I'm your host and coach, Danya Powers, and today we're going to talk about something that I know more than one of you has felt but never probably said out loud, and that is the feeling of being completely alone in our midlife, even when people are surrounding you. You're not imagining it. It may feel like you're in a surreal space. That's how it felt to me, or it does feel to me sometimes. And you're definitely not the only one. But let's talk about what no one prepared us for, and that is the silence, the disconnection, the aching loneliness that can creep in during midlife, and what to do when it does. I think it's really important to talk about things that are hidden within us. And we have that inner dialogue, that person that we never actually really acknowledge in our head that we constantly talk to. That's when you talk to them the most. And that's not necessarily going to help you the most. But I have women ask me all the time, or even men even ask me, like, why do I feel this way? What is happening? Why do I feel this way? I sat in the parking lot outside of Walmart. We don't really have like a Target here in Oak Ridge. It's a tiny town. But I sat outside of Walmart, not because I forgot something, but because I was hiding, I guess, from my family. There's many times I'll pull into my driveway and I'll sit out in my car for like an hour because, going inside, and I really don't have very many people left. I have mostly animals at home, but it it just felt quieter there than it did inside, because inside awaits dishes, inside awaits a dog, inside awaits, chores that need to be addressed, laundry that needs to be addressed, all these things. And I sat and doom scrolled on my phone. I just scrolled, just sat there. No real thing, not really doing anything important. And I just stared out the window. I didn't cry. I just existed. And so I remember thinking, is this what 49 is supposed to feel like? I mean, is this what midlife is supposed to feel like? Because it's not chaotic. It's not loud. It's not bad. It just feels empty sometimes. And I have a husband, I have children, I have a grandchild, I have clients that I love. But in that moment, I didn't feel seen in any of it. And I remember just thinking, I want to remember how this feels, because it happens to me more often than not. And I think it's because I feel like I was the glue for everybody, and also just kind of that invisible thread that nobody noticed. And so it's kind of like being wallpaper in your house, and you're always there. You're always there, part of everything, but you just never really looked at. And that's just kind of how I was feeling. That's really how I was feeling. Almost every woman that I coach has had that same moment. I don't know how many times, probably at least. I have 62 clients that I'm working with right now. And within those clients, I probably 3 times a day get a message from a woman who says, I sat in my driveway for over an hour for no reason. And, sometimes it happens in your kitchen. Sometimes it's, folding laundry thinking, is this it? There's just this reality that, wow, we've really hit over more than half of our life here. Is this it? Midlife doesn't just shift your hormones. It really kind of shakes your identity. And it just shakes it up so that you're trying to reach in and figure out, well, who am I? I feel like I should have known who I was all these years. I felt like I used to know who I was. Who am I? And, it doesn't just affect your body, and it doesn't just affect your identity. It also affects your connections. So let's break it down, because estrogen isn't just about periods and hot flashes. It is about neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters, that's just a big fancy word for the hormones that make you happy or sad. Okay. So the neurotransmitters that I'm going to talk about are dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. They are the stuff that help you feel joy. They are the stuff that you feel when you feel motivated. That's from serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, bonded with a partner, with a friend, with your clients, with your children, calm, and then everything starts to flatline. I'm not sure why it happens, but that's why stuff used to fill your cup that it does, and that it doesn't anymore. Well, like, I don't really enjoy this anymore. There's times I love Christmas. I love Christmas. But there are many times that I will sit there and I'll have a smile, and everybody really does perceive that I'm enjoying everything, but everything feels flat. It really does. And, maybe it's your partner's hugs, maybe it's your kids' laughter, your job, even your workouts. It just starts to feel like yet another thing, just another thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with several different things, but your nervous system is fried. You have overstimulated yourself for years. You've pushed past your point of no return in regard to your stress, causing cortisol spike. So your body can only respond for so long, and things get fritzed out. It's inflamed. You're emotionally numb, even to things that you used to really love. And it's not failure; it's physiology, honestly. Like if you imagine that your brain is the radio station, midlife hormones start messing with that signal. So if you have midlife hormones messing with the signal, when you mess with the radio signal, you can't really hear the music. You can hear the music, but it's fuzzy. Does that make sense? So you know the joy is there, but it's just really out of reach. It's almost like there's a barrier. Like you can see it, you can hear it, but feeling it, it's different. Something happens. And then friendships in your 20s and 30s, friendships are different when you're in your 40s and 50s. They just are. In 20s and 30s, you had school moms, coworkers, weekend brunches, maybe weekend brunches. I had like maybe a couple of those. I'm not a brunch girl. I'm an early morning girl. But group texts where people actually responded. Do you remember that? Now you're lucky if anybody replies with more than a heart or a thumb. Everyone's busy. Everyone's dealing. But the silence, sometimes it feels personal. It really does. So your partner doesn't really know what to say. They get quiet. They're scrolling on their phone. They're probably walking through some of those things if you guys are around the same age. I know when I look at my husband, I try to think, I wonder if he feels this way. And sometimes I'll verbalize it and sometimes I won't. Men are blessed with a nothing box. We don't have one of those. When I ask, what are you thinking? And he says nothing. He means nothing. I don't have that ability. If I say nothing to you, it's because I'm done thinking about this one thing and I've already moved to these 7 other things. And I'm doing it all at the same time because our brains are a lot like spaghetti. They cross and touch each other. Everything's happening all at once. Your kids, maybe they don't need you the same way. That's true in my life. People drift away. People drift apart. People are busy. The friends that you want to hang out with, their kids are just as busy as yours are or were. Even if you're an empty nester like me, they may still be in the throes, or they've developed a whole new life that really doesn't have anything to do with you anymore. It's like your support system ghosted you, but it didn't really say goodbye. If that makes sense, if that relates. And you start second guessing. Am I too much? I think that a lot. I'll think, wow, maybe I'm just too much for this room. Too much. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I need to just pull back. I need to like quiet myself. I'm too much. Am I not enough? Enough for my family. I feel that way often. Am I not enough? I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I should do more. I need to do more. Did I miss the memo? That's the biggest thing I felt like when I'm, walking into a room and I feel just out of sorts. I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes it just feels like I'm walking in not knowing what I missed. And that's the palpable feeling that is coming at me. One of my clients, let's just call her M. She told me she felt like she was a ghost in a room full of people. And that's what it feels like. It feels like you're there, but you're not really being seen. You're not really being heard. Her marriage wasn't bad. Her job was fine, but her body was changing. And the worst part, she just felt like she didn't matter to anybody. And I thought, I know exactly how that feels. And is it true? Probably not. But that feeling is more than just sadness. It's more than depression. It's different. It's something that feels very flat. It's something that is, in my mind, like a slow erosion of your sense of worth. And I think that we need to acknowledge it. It's like, if I was to put a word on it, it's like grief. It's like the silent grief of who you used to be. Let's go even deeper. Midlife is full of funerals. Nobody talks about that much. I don't know how many funerals I've been to this year, 7, and it's July when you're hearing this podcast. The body you had in your 20s, you're grieving that. The things you postponed, and maybe you're like, am I too old to do that now? Maybe that's a pipe dream. You know what I mean? You're grieving those things. The woman you used to be before everything else came first. You grieve that. You look in the mirror and you think, I used to feel sexy. I used to feel strong. I'm pretty sure I used to feel confident. Where did she go? Like, how do I find her again? Where is she? How do I find her? And it's quiet, that grief. You still go to work every day. Nobody knows. You still handle your family, take care of things every day. Nobody knows. I still post reels for you every day. You don't know, right? And you do everything, but you don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you anymore, and it's like watching reruns of your favorite show. You know what's going to happen, right? So the feeling is not quite there. Like, you remember who you were, and now the storyline's changed for you, and now you don't recognize the plot. So you go back and forth to what you think should be happening because you've been here and seen this episode, and now you don't know the outcome. Let's get tactical, because awareness is powerful, but action is freedom. Okay. When I help my clients rebuild themselves in midlife, the biggest thing that we do is reconnect the body through strength, and not just physical strength. Not just physical strength, because strength training is not just about the power. It's not just about the scale. It's about reclaiming your power. And when you lift, you shift your brain chemistry. You really do. It's why I don't skip my workouts. It's why I feel confident when I am post workout, even if I didn't just grow the biggest, baddest muscles you ever saw. You are growing muscle, but you're also growing mental strength. You're growing mental fortitude. You're growing in power. And you just need to make sure that you don't skip those things. You would, if you haven't been doing your workouts, that may be the one thing. If you find yourself keep sliding into this flatline zone where nothing is what it seems anymore, and the one thing you're not doing is strength training or getting your workouts in, that could be the one thing that's missing from your radar. Because first of all, it's you time. Even if you just went on a walk, a solo walk, that might make a massive difference. I was journaling. I don't journal often, but when I do journal, it's because I have so many feelings and I need to get them out. And I cried through the whole thing. Couldn't tell you what I wrote down. Felt better after, though. Journaling is magical. If you don't journal, I encourage you to do it, especially if you have a lot pent up. That is a great place to put it out on paper. And once you put it out on paper, it's free of your mind. It's free of your heart. It's free of your spirit. I teach a Saturday morning yoga class, and that's the one class during the week that I walk into knowing that it's a workout for me, not just for the people. It's one that I go in for me. I make sure the meditation is something that would help me. And I do give to the people that are coming to the class, but I also take that as an opportunity to give to myself. I make sure that that is something that's mine. And they can feel that. I always get told the Saturday class is different. It is different because you're there with me, for me. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Your nervous system needs moments that aren't tied to performance. My whole world is tied to a performance. How did the reel do? How did the podcast do? How did this do? How did that do? How did this do? Where are your finances? How did your business do this month? How many clients did you get this month? Everything is tied to a performance for me. Everything, from all my coaches, from my fitness coaches, from my business coaches. Everything is tied to a performance. So you have to pull yourself away from those things that aren't tied to a performance and allow yourself to be present there, and allow yourself to just give to yourself so that you have something that's yours, that you have something tangible, palpable, that belongs to you. And so I say this with a grain of salt because I don't want you to unfollow me. But be careful about who you're following. Don't follow fitfluencers that you are comparing yourself to other people. I try really hard to put stories out there that are very relatable, because I do have amazing, incredible, bizarrely successful, freakishly amazing clients here and there that just have this rapid success. And they'll be like, how come you're not posting my pictures? How come you're not? And I do, but I try to give it a little bit of time, because I don't want anybody to compare themselves to them. Do they get posted? They do. And you see them all the time. Michelle is a superstar. She's been a slow paced superstar, but she's a superstar nonetheless. So I post her a lot because I don't want her to lose her belief either. And I think we all kind of fall into these categories of comparison if we're not careful. And so if you are following fitfluencers that are making you feel bad about yourself, please unfollow them. And if I'm making you feel bad about myself, I'm going to tell you, go ahead and unfollow me. That's never my intention, but I want to be somebody that helps you move forward, not move you backwards. So don't follow people that make you feel like crap, period. I don't know how many, during this political environment that's going on, I've unfollowed thousands of people, because If your whole world is wrapped up in politics, of which you have almost no influence over, go and vote. You should vote, yes. But outside of that, being negative about it and swirling fear, that doesn't help anybody. I'm not going to follow you if you're posting that crap. It's not going to happen because it's something that will bring me down. Doesn't mean that you're not right. It just means that I want to help people. And I can't do that if my head is not in the right space. I don't watch things that make me feel like crap. Surround yourself, even virtually, with people who get it. I encourage you to follow women who understand what's happening to you. Probably one of my favorite influencers right now online is Dr. Mary Claire. If you are not following her, you are missing out. She is just a no BS doctor that understands menopause. And that is rare because I've never talked to a doctor that understood anything about menopause at all. They know how to push drugs. They know how to tell you that, this is probably wrong with you. This is probably wrong with you. Not saying, hey, this is probably menopause or perimenopause. They're not helping you, right? She does. She'll point out stuff that you just never thought about. And you're like, that makes so much sense. So I do encourage you to go follow her. She'll make you feel better. She will. She's made me feel better a lot of times. Not only that, she brings experts in all the time that are not her. And I think that says a lot about her. She doesn't try to be the expert all the time. And neither do I. It's just not going to help any of us. Loneliness loses its grip when we name it, y'all. Message me. Talk to a friend. Post that story that you're worried about. Put it out there. Be seen. Allow people to help you. You're not alone. You never were. But it's time to stop being invisible in your own story. It really is. You don't need to snap out of it. You don't need to fake joy. I think that is a misnomer. And so I do not go to women's conferences. I have been invited to be a speaker at a women's conference next year. And I was like, I will go to this women's conference if these things have to be in place. I feel like women are basically taught how to fake it our whole lives. Your family needs you. I'm giving you permission to not fake. If you're upset, be upset. If you're having a bad day, have a bad day. Can you turn it around? Absolutely. But don't negate how you feel for someone else's feelings. The book Approval Addiction changed my life. It is by Joyce Meyer. Whether you hate her or love her, that is a phenomenal book because approval addiction pulls you into understanding why you feel like you have to be a people pleaser. And a lot of it has to do with weird things like fear of abandonment. You're afraid people are going to leave you if they don't like you. So you fake all this shit. And then we have that tiny cup that we were talking about. I don't remember if it was in this podcast or the podcast that I recorded earlier, but we have this tiny cup and we don't have the capacity anymore. Where our cup in our 20s was big, now it's not. We don't have the capacity to fake stuff anymore. You just need space to rebuild on your terms. I coach women just like you every single day. We don't chase perfection. We chase strength. We chase energy. We chase joy. We chase feeling real again. And I would love to chat with you. Message me the word ready on Instagram or TikTok. I'm Danya Powers EC. On Facebook, I'm Danya Powers. Or you can find me on my website, www.empoweredcoaching.com. Or you can find me on YouTube, Danya Powers, Empowered Coaching. And let's finally write the comeback story that midlife should have been for you all along. It doesn't matter how old you are, but what you do next matters. It really does. It matters to me and it matters to everybody around you. You're not late. You're right on time. I coach women in their 60s and 70s all the time. You're not late. You're right on time. And let me know if this helps you. Let me know if I can help you. And until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas. Thanks for tuning into this latest episode of the Diva Deets. If this helped you and you found it valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Ready for more support? Join my free Facebook community or join my coaching community. The details are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.